Imagine this. After months, maybe years, of being pulled into someone else's games, always second-guessing yourself, always walking on eggshells, you finally begin to change. You start saying no. You trust your instincts again. You reclaim parts of yourself that once felt buried. For the first time in a long time, you feel stronger. But then, something shifts. The narcissist who once seemed so dominant begins to behave differently. Not softer, not kinder, but stranger. Their charm grows brittle. Their words cut deeper. And beneath the surface, you sense something dangerous. They are preparing for a final move. Carl Jung wrote that the greatest fear of the narcissist is not rejection or abandonment. It is the moment their illusion of superiority collapses. He called this the power inversion crisis, when the victim they once controlled becomes psychologically stronger than they are. It is a moment that threatens the very foundation of their identity. And it is here, when you rise into your own strength, that they reach for their most devastating weapon. A last dirty trick, designed not just to hurt you, but to undo everything you've built. So what is this weapon? And how do you recognize it before it strikes? To understand that, we first need to explore why narcissists cannot survive your strength. When Jung spoke of the shadow self, he described it as the hidden side of our personality, the parts we deny, repress, or refuse to face. For most of us, the shadow contains ordinary human flaws: insecurity, anger, jealousy. But in the narcissist, the shadow grows into something more dangerous. They cannot tolerate weakness in themselves, so they project it outward. You become the fragile one. You become the problem. This is their way of preserving the illusion that they are superior. At first, this projection feels convincing. They may call you needy, irrational, or unstable, and because you're vulnerable, you believe it. But the moment you begin to heal, the balance shifts. You stop absorbing their shadow and begin to recognize it for what it is, their reflection, not yours. Jung warned that narcissists build their lives around what he called the inflated ego, a false identity that must always appear strong, dominant, and in control. But this mask is fragile. Your independence, your ability to set boundaries, to say no, to define yourself without their approval, cracks it open. This is why your healing destabilizes them so deeply. They are not merely losing influence. They are being forced to confront the emptiness they've spent years avoiding. And rather than face that truth, they double down. They grow more critical, more erratic, more desperate. What you are witnessing is not random cruelty. It is psychological warfare, rooted in their terror of losing the only power they've ever known. And when strength alone doesn't bring you back under their control, they escalate into subtler, more insidious tactics. The first of these is what Jung called strength shaming, and it's designed to make you doubt the very progress you've worked so hard to achieve. When the narcissist realizes that outright control no longer works, they turn to more subtle tactics, methods designed to chip away at your new sense of strength. Jung described this as a form of projection warfare, where the very qualities that empower you become the target of attack. The first tactic is what we might call strength shaming. Think about the qualities you've worked hardest to reclaim. Perhaps you've learned to say no, to speak your truth, or to stand taller in your own confidence. Instead of celebrating these changes, the narcissist twists them into flaws. Boundaries become coldness. Confidence becomes arrogance. Independence becomes selfishness. You might hear lines like, "You've changed, and not in a good way. You used to be so caring. Now you're just distant. Success has gone to your head. You think you're better than everyone." These attacks aren't random. Jung observed that the narcissist instinctively aims at the very traits you are most proud of developing. Their goal is simple: to make you ashamed of your progress, so you'll shrink back into the smaller version of yourself they could once dominate. When strength shaming fails, they shift to the second tactic: nostalgic manipulation. Jung compared this to psychic time travel, a regression into old patterns. The narcissist will idealize the past, but not because they miss who you truly are. They miss the version of you that was easier to control. They'll say things like, "Remember how happy we were before you started setting all these boundaries? I miss the person you used to be. You were so much more fun before you changed." This is not affection. It's strategy. By glorifying the past, they try to make you doubt the present. And if you start longing for that old self, you risk undoing the very healing that made you strong. But as dangerous as these tactics are, they are only preparation. Because when neither shame nor nostalgia works, the narcissist will reach for their most devastating weapon. The one Jung warned is designed to break even the strongest soul. This is the final dirty trick, manufactured vulnerability. When shame doesn't work and nostalgia fails to bring you back under their control, the narcissist unleashes what Carl Jung called their most dangerous weapon: manufactured vulnerability. At first, it doesn't look like manipulation at all. They appear fragile, broken, or suddenly in crisis. Maybe it's a health scare that arrives without warning. Maybe they've lost a job, had a falling out with family, or spiral into a dramatic breakdown. On the surface, it looks like coincidence, bad luck that just happens to strike when you are finally standing tall. But Jung observed something far more deliberate. These crises are often timed, even staged, to test one thing: whether you will abandon your new boundaries to rescue them. Narcissists study you carefully. They know your soft spots, your compassion, your guilt, your instinct to care for others. And when they feel their grip loosening, they turn those qualities against you. Suddenly, the very empathy that makes you human becomes the lever they use to pull you back into submission. Jung explained that this is not about genuine need. It is about control. The narcissist wants proof that even at your strongest, you will still sacrifice yourself for them. And they are skilled at crafting the perfect scenario to make you believe you should. They might say, "I know you're busy, but I have no one else to turn to. I thought you cared about me. How can you leave me like this? Just this once, please. You know I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious." Notice how each plea is designed to bypass your logic and strike directly at your empathy. Jung warned that this is where many people relapse, mistaking compassion for responsibility. That's why his insight into differentiated compassion is so vital. True compassion allows you to feel someone's pain without surrendering your own center. You can acknowledge their suffering, even care about it, without collapsing back into the caretaker role that once enslaved you. The hardest truth Jung offers is this: their vulnerability may even be real, but their use of it is strategic. And if you fall for it, you risk losing everything you've built. So how do you hold your ground without becoming cold or heartless? The answer lies in remembering what your strength truly represents, and why the narcissist fears it more than anything else. In the end, Jung's insight is both sobering and liberating. Narcissists don't fear abandonment, nor do they truly fear rejection. What they fear most is your strength, because your growth exposes their refusal to grow. Your boundaries, your independence, your confidence, all stand as living proof of what they could become if they chose authenticity over control. That's why their final manipulation is so desperate. Manufactured vulnerability is not just about pulling you back. It's about erasing the evidence of your transformation. But here lies the paradox. The very fact that they resort to this tactic is proof of how powerful you've already become. Their desperation is a mirror, showing you that the chains are broken. Jung reminded us, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. The narcissist's last dirty trick only works if you forget that truth, if you confuse empathy with obligation, or mistake their weakness for your responsibility. So let their tactics serve as confirmation, not doubt. If they shame your strength, it means they see it. If they long for the old you, it means the new you is real. And if they manufacture a crisis, it means you've stepped beyond their control. Your task is not to harden your heart, but to hold your ground, to stand in your own becoming, even when their shadows try to pull you back. If this message resonates with you, consider sharing it with someone who may be walking the same difficult path. Healing spreads when it's witnessed.